Welcome, dear GRASFI participants, to this overall Best Paper Prize Committee ceremony, I have to say. It's weird to have an online ceremony, but we're going to try. You can see that in this session we have Jane Ambachtsheer, the Global Head of Sustainability. She is a member of the Prize Committee. Just as Ben Collicott of Oxford University, who unfortunately could not be here today, and me, Bauer from Maastricht University. The three of us have looked at 49 papers that were presented, 49. And there were also quite a bunch of PhD papers that we looked at. And we had a tough task to come to a decision which paper is the best paper of this whole conference. And, you know, we were basing our analysis on our own judgment independently, but also on all the reviewers that have helped to make this conference a really success. So they put a lot of effort in reviewing the papers before they got in the program, and that information was also accessible for us. Well, and what's going to happen? We're going to first hear who has won, and Jane from BNP Paribas will announce who the winner is. She will also tell a bit about the paper itself, why she liked it so much and why we as a committee liked it. And then we will have a little chat with the winners that are in this session as well, but we're not going to tell you who they are and where they are. So before we go there, Jane, please go ahead and tell us who won.
Great, thank you, Rob. Well, it's very exciting. We had a great time going through all of the various papers, and I have to admit, it wasn't just me, we had an internal subcommittee, and they really liked the winner, partly because it really touches on such a core piece of what we're doing internally around looking at ESG ratings. And in fact, my colleague who reviewed this paper in detail said that it's a must read for anyone working in the ESG space. So for that reason, we really thought that it was such a central paper to where we are today, looking historically at ESG research and data, and also thinking about how we can move forward. So with that, I'd like to announce that the winner is Aggregate Confusion, Dispersion of ESG Ratings. Let's bring in our authors.
There they are. Congratulations, Roberto, Julian, and Florian. So I don't hear anything. I don't hear any cheering. Are you?
Yeah. Hey.
We are. Great. So it's of course a pity that we cannot show you to the rest of the audience, but this is, I think, a good second solution for that. So let me start. You start writing this paper, and anyone who's writing on ESG has this issue of data quality and not understanding why something is the way it is in the databases. So you probably had that before as well, I guess. But can you tell me a bit more, Julian? Why did you actually write this paper? What was the motivation for this?
Yeah, it really started exactly as you say. You start getting to know these data sets, and at some point you say, hang on, they are actually quite different, and isn't that what we base a lot of our research on? And so it just became clear to me that this is a fundamental issue. And then it was really, I met Roberto at MIT, and I became aware that he's interested in measurement. And I was stressed, of course, meeting such a senior guy, and you try to come up with a clever idea, and I'm so glad it culminated in this project and this prize. So it's a really a nice story. Thank you.
I love, Rob, I'm sorry. I love when my co-authors call me old. Yeah, this senior. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
I think he said wise, but maybe that was.
Well, I emphasize the senior part.
Cognitive dissonance. I don't know. Anyway, Florian, I saw that the paper got quite a lot of attention in the press. So tell me what happened. So who actually approached you after you made it public, and what happened with the paper?
I think that went quite quick. So we sent it out because over the months we had a website for our Aggregate Confusion project, and people got really interested. We got even we had like 3 sightings for our paper when we hadn't even a working paper out there. And then yeah, I think it was the Financial Times that reached out at first, and from that it escalated, and some pieces that were written about us or that used our paper were good. Some others we disliked a little bit more. For example, the labor secretary from the US wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal he used parts of our analysis, but he stopped too early. So he didn't really get to the conclusion. Yeah, that was a little bit sad, but yeah, we were really excited how much press we got actually. As in academia, it's not often that a lot of people read your paper and it goes public.
I think it will be great for all three of your Google citation score going forward. I can predict a great career based on that alone. Anyway, so Jane, you were probably one of them, or at least your team who heard about this. And at BNP Paribas, you're also working a lot on scoring ESG information and measuring and comparing and normalizing and all the stuff that actually the authors wrote about. So how did this paper come into your organization, and how did you talk about it?
Yeah, well, absolutely. When it came in for review, and we talked about it in our committee, a number of folks had already come across the paper through the different channels that you've talked about, but hadn't necessarily kind of understood and analyzed all the different dimensions that are in the paper. And I think for us, some of the interesting things are, you know, the difference between a focus on materiality and weightings on the one hand, and, you know, interpretation of what different data points mean, which I think was a really interesting focus of the paper. And, you know, we've spent the last 9 months evolving our ESG research platform and trying to do something similar, trying to, you know, get high quality data and focus on actual performance as opposed to interpretation of performance. So in fact, we'd love it if you guys would add our data into your data set and see how the chips fall, if that's something you're open to.
Well, let me take that one. Yes, we love, we would love to incorporate as many data sources for that comparison, because I think we all have kind of the same objective. You know, we would like to understand, you know, what is the ethical behavior of the firms, and to be honest, we are just severely confused, as the paper says, about how to measure that. So by gathering more data sources and methodologies, I think we can be able to learn how to do it. Yeah. So,
fantastic. Well, we'll follow up on that, but don't worry, the prize is not conditional on adding our data into the model.
So about confusion, I think many of the things in the ESG space, and we heard that also the past week, is just not so easy to measure. So it's you could even say unmeasurable because it's, you know, it's either fluffy or it's very difficult to measure. Do you think that we can make a push there, that we can make a next step in using all these artificial intelligence techniques that you see emerging, even in the papers on this program, to even better understand certain connections and get into less confusion territory, or is this the best we can get?
No, I don't think this is the best we can get. No. I think and we can severely improve this. Mm-hmm. I think that we have evolved in a very organic way, so that means disorganized. So I think that at this stage, we can take a step backward and then analyze the stock of the data, the quality of the data that we have, what is the purpose of what the data is collecting, what are the data sources, and then think about what pieces are missing. So when you think about it, like what Jane said, the definition of materiality, you know, it can be how the world affects me as a firm or how I affect the world by my actions. Yes. Well, how can that be, a discussion? And furthermore, I mean, I think both are important. So if I'm an investor, I would like to understand the exposure that I have to environmental shocks. And as an investor, I also would like to know what is the impact that the firm has on the environment. But we're combining all these data sources and motives, and therefore it is not helping. So right now, I think we have done a fantastic effort of data collection. I think it's good that we take a step back, look at all the stock of type of data sources that we have. And Jane, that's why we love to get your data. So for sure. And then analyze, well, this bucket here is missing. The measurement will always be imperfect, Rob, because we're trying to measure intentions. It's ethical behavior.
Very
So,
different.
so it is difficult. So, but I mean, but we do that every day in our societies. When you go to a judicial process and somebody has to make an assessment whether or not a crime was committed, it's also imperfect. We try to find evidence, and then we try to actually make the best inference possible. So we need to think about this as not pure reflections of truth, but as likelihood that something fishy is going on, and then use that as properly with our criteria. But but I think we can definitely do better. And one way is to first take a step back and understand what is the stock of what we have.
Yeah, and also I would like to add that we show that measurement divergence is such a big part of divergence. And I think so we have to set the incentives right when we start regulating ESG rating agencies. And we have in the past 6 months, we have quite a lot talked to actually regulators about the implications of our paper.
Yeah, let me add something like what Florian said before. Some people might read our paper by saying, which is more or less what the Department of Labor Secretary did, was they read our paper and says, oh, measurement is bad, therefore we should not use it for regulatory purposes, period. Yeah. That's the wrong reading. So what this says is that, okay, let's get our act together, measure better, and then use it correctly.
Isn't it great that even in an award ceremony, we start talking about the content? It's perfect. I think there's a lot of uncertainty here, but one thing is certain. First of all, two things. You won the prize. And another thing that is certain, that if you see one mouse in your house, there probably are 10. I think the same holds for a paper. You got one really cool paper. It's just the start of something. I think you can build on a stream of papers on this. And I think it's very good news for the researchers involved in this project. So again, congratulations with that, and try to make this as successful as I think it can be. With that, we're almost there. We're going to ask Jane to say the last words to you guys as the overall sponsor of AGGI and also of the GRASFI. Sorry, I said the wrong word, and also of the prize committee. So maybe Jane, you can sort of say some nice last words to the three authors.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Well, first of all, I would also like to congratulate all the papers that didn't win the prize, because it was a tough decision and there was so much fantastic research. But most of all, I'd like to congratulate the three of you for coming together, for forging innovation in this fastly kind of progressing but very confusing space, and helping to kind of distill that into some kind of facts. And I echo Rob's comment. I think this is the first of many. I think we need to look at questions like, how imperfection in data can lead to better insights by investors. What's in the price, what's not in the price. True regional divergence, from corporate practice to corporate reporting and the regulatory environment. There's so many places that you can go. So we look forward to talking about how BNP Paribas could partner with you in terms of some of our data and research as well. So congratulations.
Yes, maybe, when you win an Oscar, the prize winner can also say something. If you want to say some last words, all three of you, one sentence. Julian, let's go to you first.
Julian is the most expressive.
Yes, well, I can just say I'm very happy. Thank you. And I'm especially happy, Rob and Jane. I know you since a while, and receiving the prize from you is a special honor. Thank you so much.
Okay. Florian?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very grateful for all the feedback I got for this paper and all the access to discussions. That was actually, and so I'm very grateful that we won the prize now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roberto, the last word for you.
And as the old senior member of the team, I'm ecstatic about the award, but this is just, as you said, Rob and Jane, this should work as a motivation for something that is so extraordinarily important that we are not paying enough attention in the world. So therefore, I hope this is something that inspires others to work. We try to write our paper in such a way that could be read by everybody. I think that one of the problems that we have academics is that we don't communicate with normal human beings in general, and we need to do this effort. And I hope that we can actually build many, many things. So Jane, yes, we would love to partner with practitioners, because that will actually force us to be relevant. and therefore we will love to do that. Thank you so much for
Sounds like a date.
A great honor.
So thank you all, and thank you for the audience that listened to us. And with that, we close this award ceremony. Bye.